that it was
where it
created,
was born.
right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
Those with Indian heritage, like, there needs to be space, and there should be space. And it's just ridiculous that we're even having this conversation, quite frankly.
Totally. Something to add for that, to that, Natalie?
I mean, it has been appropriated. I mean, that's the reason we're having this conversation, is because it was taken by white people, made particularly in the US, but also in the UK. I mean, this, if we look at the history since the, when we had a few swamis bring it to the West intentionally, like yoga is for everyone, and they were sent out, some of the swamis were sent out to the US and the UK to bring yoga to everyone. And they wanted to teach teachers, and they wanted to create teachers so that everyone could experience this wonderful practice, right? And so that was, we had that happening in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and 60s, leading up until we had this like exercise explosion, and in the late 90s, yoga and exercise sort of combined, and yoga was commodified. It was commercialized. It was adapted to this, fitness mentality, and it was appropriated. It was taken from its original state and made to benefit those who used it and profited from it. And and that is basically what happened. But it doesn't mean that's okay, and that's like the natural evolution of things. It's still up to us, to all of those of us who practice and who know better, to go back to the roots and go back to what it was meant to be when it was brought over here to benefit us all, and to create this sort of like shared humanity, shared consciousness, that we are all in this together. We all have to look out for each other. So I don't know. I mean, it's like it's happened, but it doesn't mean that where we are right now with it is the right place to be with it. So it needs to keep, in my opinion, and those of us who are, I think, looking at yoga as activism, it needs to keep evolving, and it needs to keep evolving within the premise of its original intent. And I think that's what we're here to do. Like, we want to use this beautiful practice and this beautiful, guiding principles that we have to help us understand where we are with these constructs of white supremacy and white superiority, which is ingrained in our brains because we're all kind of raised in these cultures that are white superiority is a part of our culture. I mean, I could say, as an American, I was raised in a society that subconsciously and sometimes consciously told me that white was better than brown, white was better than black. And now, through this like realization, these scholars out there, thank goodness that we have them, the Robin DiAngelos and Ibn Kindis and all of these scholars who are now coming to the forefront, we can recognize, like, right, we're all racist. And like sit and use our yoga practice to kind of get on our mats and examine these unconscious biases and examine what has been ingrained in us, so that we can do the work of undoing it, and really, really understanding the principles and the philosophies, equality, satya, like truth, equality, samya, satya, ahimsa, like really, truly, just knowing that we're all the same, we're all equal. And so I don't know, I guess I'm saying a lot of things at once, but yeah, I mean, there is so much work to be done, and I think that sometimes that can feel overwhelming also, but I think through our yoga practice we can collectively and individually get on our mats and be with our truths, and be with where we really are, and start to do the work there as well as when we get off the mat, how we take that with us.
But it's also like you start where you are, and I think that's for all of us, all the three of us. I think this whole collective that we started, and the conversations we've had, and we've also been thinking, and we've been sharing, and then it's been an amazing journey even for us, I think. And I think that it's important also to realize, like, you start where you are. So we're using yoga, this amazing practice of yoga, for all this, but we are also looking at the yoga spaces, you know, and we're like what Keri was also mentioning, like, yeah, you know, it needs to also reflect, you know, like we have to, yoga should be for everyone. And if you think that, where should that start? First and foremost, in the yoga space. So that's also
Absolutely.
why, you know, why I think some people, you know, there's like, we just have to get more into that sort of mindset as well, I think, especially within the yoga world, you know. So
you've got to look at yourself first, and the change starts obviously from within and within each individual, and absolutely from, as you said, like from where you've got it, yoga starts from where you are right now. And there are some amazing people out there, yoga teachers, that are, you know, talking about this stuff. It's quite a complex issue, but, you know, as you said, I mean, the holy sort of grail is that everybody, you know, yoga should and should be available to everybody, whatever that looks like for you. And it's not also, you know, there's, you know, yoga isn't just asana either. Yoga isn't just standing on your head and doing like, you know, postures. It's much more than that. And that, I mean, we'll talk about the class that you're doing, but, you know, Nat, you're obviously going to give us a beautiful yoga nidra experience, which might be more suitable for people than, you know, or maybe might not be interested in asana. I mean, there's so many different styles, types of posture practice, but then also yoga is huge, and it's a philosophy. It's a way that you live your life. And that's one of the messages that I think is really, really important. It's not just about looking sexy, doing triangle in your Lululemon leggings.
Yeah, and the yoga is the shape of your life, not the shape of your body, you know, like that. Like, let's just be really, like, be really, really firm about that. And that's also, I think, what we have been discussing a lot in all of our conversations. And so I think it's really exciting that this Saturday, so for all of you listening, today's Friday, tomorrow we'll be doing the class, and you are all welcome. So it's at 10 a.m. CET, so 9 a.m. BST, and all the other time frames, look it up. But it's 10 a.m. CET in Amsterdam, 9 a.m. in the UK, and we're very excited to be, so the three of us are teaching. And we all have three different courses that we have, you know, selected basically to get the money to. And maybe, I don't know, Keri, you want to start with which course you chose and why, and tell us a little.
Sure. So my course is a UK-based course, not course. I keep getting those two words mixed up for some reason. My cause, my charity, is Racial Equality Foundation, and they are an amazing charity that do amazing work. They've got amazing grassroots projects. They lobby the government, change policy. They do loads of like research on, you know, a lot of the time, like good government sort of legislation that's come in that will impact people, you know, Black, people of color, and they make changes. And they are an amazing organization that I've actually done, because I'm also a PR, help them with some PR stuff, and they're just really cool people and a really important charity. So that actually makes changes at the top. Amazing, as I said, research, insights, but then also changes people's lives at a grassroots level as well. Yeah,
awesome. And you, Natalie?
Yeah, so I chose Color of Change. They've just been on my radar lately. They've been kind of coming across in my social media feeds and even on LinkedIn. Like, I have a couple of friends working there now, and I think, you know, part of the challenge of this doing the work is like, I know so, I feel like I felt like this, I feel like this often, and I know so many people feel like, well, how do I do the work? What do I actually do besides just talking about it and posting about it on social media? And, you know, I mean, there's many different ways to do that. And I think Color of Change is a very cool organization that that is there to help people kind of create campaigns to affect systemic to affect systemic change and to seek justice in ways that affect the local communities. So on their website, I mean, I'm not close enough to them to speak for them, but on their website they say color of change helps people respond effectively to injustice in the world around us. As a national online force driven by 7 million members, we move decision makers and corporations and government to create a more human and less hostile world for Black people and all people until justice is real. And so we have like the two sides of the coin. We have systemic change, which is absolutely got to happen. If we want any change at all, it's got to be, it's got to be a systemic level. And thank goodness, like, we have Trump out of office and Biden in power now, who is really, really focused, and a Black woman and Black and Indian woman and as our first lady, our first lady, by the way. I mean, sorry, our first God, what am I saying? Vice president.
Like,
that's a
first
oh my
lady.
God, now you've just leaked the big
It's just
news.
a rumor.
Biden and Kamala are having an affair. Oh my God. Heard it here first.
This is going viral.
Yeah.
No, I see. I'm not even
Vice
used to saying
president.
female. I'm not even used to saying female vice president because it's never happened in my 4 decades.
Anyone's lifetime.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so first vice president, and so that systemic level change has got to happen, and then the every person doing the work and every person realizing their role in that systemic change. And so I think color of change is kind of cool because they hit, it was very cool because they hit both sides of that coin. And they're just good at online what they do, and they're good at marketing themselves, and they're just I mean that in a positive way as a marketer. So as a digital marketer over here, I appreciate that. I think they're just they're doing good work, and you can see the work that they do, and I think that's part of the challenge for nonprofits who are doing amazing work is they don't have people that can also do the marketing and the PR side of, because they can't afford it, right? And nonprofit budgets don't allow for that often. So I feel for all of these amazing organizations out there that we just can't show the work because they just don't have the time and resource to do that as well.
And I think it's also really nice for the three of us because we have all three, we picked really different causes, not courses, causes. Because
I'm running a course soon.
It shall be a course. This will be a course anytime soon. Black Lives Matter course, cause. My name as last year, Keri was sweet enough to join me for a fundraiser for Black queer trans resistance here in the Netherlands. It's something that I'm very passionate about because not only do I try my upper best to be an ally for Black people and people of color, it's the same for trans, non-binary, and gay people. Like, it's really, really important to me that their rights are being fought for, and I think it shouldn't just be fought for by them, but especially also by people who are allies, who want to stand by them and be in their corner. So for me, I went to their march last year and I cried all through. Because it really hit me hard because they had this beautiful, it was still of course Corona time, so we all had to have our distance, but they came with all these white coffins of all these people who were like, I get even emotional when I think about it now. It's just like, all these Black trans people who were killed just because they were Black and trans, and it really hit me so hard, being in that audience. And then at the exact same day, I think, or the day before, we did our class. So for me, it was really heartfelt and it's incredible, important work what they're doing. So I'm really passionate about, supporting them. So that's going to be my cause. And of course, like maybe people want to give a little bit to all three, or it's just really nice that we all picked causes close to our heart, but are also very different causes. So I think that's really nice for Saturday's class. It's going to be really good, So yeah,
amazing.
And I think that please come to the class. If you don't come to the class, what I'm going to do in the show notes, I'm going to put some information. Also, I made this sort of blog post, and it has all the a lot of resources. I always say this is especially for the whiteys. especially for the white people, some good resources, movies you should see, books you should read, and like some great websites that I found. So I made like a little blog post about it. Very